Hi, welcome to GOPAYL News Weekend Update. It's following Rhinos everywhere they go. I am Isabel, and I'm going to go over the headlines this week. The first was Chuck Hagel's confirmation as Secretary of Defense. Well, after a vote of 58 to 41, senators confirmed the former Republican senator and decorated Vietnam War veteran to replace outgoing Pentagon chief Leon Panetta. Hagel, 66, was sworn in last Wednesday. Thank you, Rand Paul. With anti-Israeli rhinos like you, who needs Democrats? To continue the story with my interpretation, 4 Republicans, surprisingly including Tea Party-backed Senator Rand Paul, as in a Tea Party of the Libertarian side, joined the majority Democrats in approving Hagel, compared with the 18 Republicans who had voted earlier in the day to overcome the blocking tactics and allow a full vote. White House Press Secretary Jay Carney said on Twitter that the confirmation is great news for our men and women in uniform. Really? The nomination was held up by several Republican demands for information on Hagel's finances and transcripts of speeches that he gave to international organizations. But some of his strongest critics, including Republican Senators Bob Corker, Lindsey Graham, and John McCain, agreed to allow an up or down floor vote, even though all 3 eventually voted against Hagel's confirmation. We can always count on them, can't we? The outcome ended a politically charged saga that saw Hagel unsettled in congressional testimony when critics savaged his record on issues related to the Middle East. He also survived a tense committee vote that saw him subjected to such harsh comments that fellow Vietnam veteran McCain warned fellow Republicans that they should not impugn the patriotism of an honorable man. Senator McCain? Yeah, well, where have you been for the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration? I mean, it's just such phony outrage. Stop it. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid sounded relieved, but got in a few more digs at his opponents. Senator Hagel is the first nominee for Secretary of Defense to be filibustered in the history of the United States. Politically motivated delays send a terrible signal to our allies and to the world, as well as to U.S. troops serving in Afghanistan. Reid said to an audience of 1, I'm just kidding. For the sake of national security, it's time to set aside this partisanship. Oh yeah, he's so funny. Carl Levin, chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee, which had itself only approved Hagel after a tense party line vote, said it was time to end this uncertainty about this position. We need a Secretary of Defense, Levin said. Well, I don't want to go on and on and on. That was not good news. And thank you, Rand Paul. You just stuck your foot in so deep that it made it so much easier for the rest of us who were trying to tell everybody what a phony you were, that I can take a little break now. So thanks a lot. The second big scoop of the week is that a bunch of rhinos are in Wall Street digging up money for their 2016 campaigns. It must be hard to soul search and find money all the time from people who you're going to eventually backstab. Okay, Rubio is in New York City, but he was in Jordan and Israel, and I thought he had moved already to, I thought he was going to move to Washington, but I drove by there this week, and I ended up finding out that he had already moved to Washington. So we have Rubio, Rand, Rob Portman, Ryan, and Robert Jindal, the 5 R's who all happen to be rhinos in New York. They're scheduled to be there at some time, so I prepared a little clip to make this a little more interesting. Guess who's in New York? I couldn't even keep up with him. He was in Washington first. I had a little song prepared. Now I had to change the song because he's in New York, Wall Street. Guess who? Mr. Big Stuff. Who does he think he is? Mr. Big Stuff. Shaking down trips at Wall Street, Mr. Big Stuff.
I see you win. I know you broke your heart where nothing bit by bit. You made him cry.
He's not alone. Guess who else was there? Rand Paul from Kentucky. Yes. Guess who else? Another Paul. Only Paul Ryan. We have Paul Ryan, Rand Paul, and Mr. Big Stuff. Who does he think he is? Mr. Big Stuff. Woo! They saved the best for last. The only thing holding back Christie, whose name has been dropped by donors and bundlers, is that pesky little pay-to-play federal law banning contributions from New Jersey. The ones that there's exchanges for business and other types of underwriting deals and things like that. So I'm sure Christie will figure out a way around that. And it is reported that his campaign for re-election might morph into a presidential operation next year. Oh, I hope not. But anyway, if he does, he should run for the Democratic Party nomination, and so should all the other rhinos who butt heads all the time. Don't butt heads, they merge heads with the Dems. So the repubs, the repubes, whatever you call them, the R's and the D's, they're all rhinos with an H. Please read my essay in the speech a time for choosing. Just look up my name and say the word and write in the word rhino. Former Florida, oh, last one but not least, former Florida Jeb Bush could draw, quote unquote, a deep well because of family connections. Oh, that's just what we need. LBJ with a lot of money. Big government loves big business. And now I'm going to give you some names of who Marco Rubio met in New York. He met the hedge fund manager and Titan billionaire Paul Singer. I wonder what he's all about, Mr. Singer. It was called a first date. Here's something else from Manhattan. Oh yes, there was a buzz that he's, running for the White House, but some of the GOP bundlers are, downplaying all of the talk. And guess who else was in New York, as you saw in the clip? He's going to be there on Monday. Senator Rand Paul. And not to be outdone, Paul Ryan will be there too. Gosh, they do travel like a herd. All right, next. Less visible, that was Paul Ryan, by the way. He's less visible because of all the fiscal fights in D.C. Oh, all the spending. Marco Rubio accumulated $937,463 from Wall Street between 2007 and 2002. Of course, that's not including conservative ideological groups, probably Karl Rove, and retired individuals, which came in first and second place. So in third place is measly under $1 million. He got it from the Club for Growth, $353,891, blah, blah, blah. Elliott Management, run by Singer, Mr. Singer, $121,476, and Goldman Sachs, $85,842. Lloyd Blankfein, Hank Paulson. Now, where did I see his name before? Okay, so Hank Paulson was the guy that he oversaw TARP. And John Corzine, he's one of Rubio's backers, and probably all the other rhinos that are there looking for his money. Stephen Friedman, Kravis, and KKR. I don't know what that is, but I'll soon find out probably. Then there's mention made of Hillary Clinton, who probably doesn't have to do all this early obstacle course, so to speak, because she's expected to raise whatever amounts she wants. She's got it all in the bag. I thought she had blood in her hands. Anyway, whatever. Several have said that Wall Street is hungry for a fresh face. Oh my gosh. one of the bundlers admits that Jeb is not what the party's looking for. Please, I can't laugh right now. I'm trying to be serious. So I wonder if Rubio's the one they had in mind, or worse yet, Rand Paul. Who would be worse, Rand Paul or Rubio? I don't know. They're both bad. I hope they don't think that Rand Paul is to the right of Rubio, but that is how they described him. Anyway, so Rubio is said to know how to deliver a message and connect with people. Yeah, like me, and then betray people he connects with because he's after money. All right, and he's youthful and he has verbal gifts. Well, a lot of people are youthful and a lot of people have verbal gifts. It's not unique to Marco Rubio. It didn't get a lot of attention, but I need to give a heads up to anybody in Georgia. And you know who you are. The Republican Security Council is pushing someone by the name of Herman Cain. Remember him? And they are pushing him to replace Senator Chambliss from, I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's going to retire from the Senate this term, next term, and so he needs to. They're pushing Herman Cain because they don't want Paul Brune. Now, who is Paul Brune? Paul Brune is a hero. He voted against Speaker Boehner. He has stood up against a lot of the shenanigans going on in Congress. And I want to read a little something that happened this week. And so I need for all of you to be alert. And that is how you avoid rhinoceros, is by keeping an eye on things. What's with Eric Cantor's hissy fit? Well, House Majority Leader Eric Cantor is increasingly frustrated with a group of House Republicans who are working against the leadership, and he's not afraid of voicing his dismay. Oh, of course not, because it's Tea Party people, and who's afraid of the Tea Party in Washington? In a closed-door conference meeting on Wednesday, Cantor told one GOP member that if they blocked the Senate passed Violence Against Women Act from coming to the floor, they'd cause civil war in the ranks. This sounds like student government. Cantor's comment irked some Republican aides who told National Review Online that such strong language is inappropriate. In recent days, some conservatives have been upset. Who knows what a conservative is anymore? Hey, you know what? I'm not a rhino. That is all anyone needs to know these days about being conservative. Okay, so some conservatives have been upset about the Senate's version of VAWA, saying that parts of the bill are unconstitutional. So why would Cantor be upset? Nevertheless, Cantor's warning may have had an effect. When the bill came to the floor on Wednesday, only 9 Republicans voted against the rule to take up the bill, and that was Paul Brune. He was one of them. I'm going to cut this short. Paul Brune, Georgia Senate, okay? He needs our help. He was the only one, well, one of 2 who voted for Allen West to be Speaker. Thank you, Paul Brune. Palinistas, you've got to get on this. Thank you.